We have some wild news to go over today, and in surprising fashion, the Toronto Blue Jays have made a surprising move. And this move is one that nobody saw coming, and we're going to see a prospect make his major league debut. But there's also a wrinkle with this move that means more moves are imminent. We're going to be breaking all of that down on this episode, as well as break down multiple huge Jays updates ahead of this afternoon's game, as well as one player in particular who has the MLB absolutely horrified. Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a long video. Stay tuned for it all. A ton of updates to go over, but before we get to it all, you guys have been absolute beasts with supporting. 71% of you who are watching right now aren't subscribed to the channel. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. Ladies and gentlemen, let's just dive right into it. What a crazy, past 24 hours. The Jays are on an absolute roll, and then late last night, we got a bit of a bomb here, and of course, we'll dive into an update surrounding Eric Lauer and things later, because you can see here, breaking news, Blue Jays prospect and Fatima graduate Will Robertson is being called up to the major leagues, and if you're unfamiliar with Will Robertson, I've covered him briefly on the channel, but this is shocking, because nobody saw this move coming. He's been mashing in AAA, and he is getting the call up. He will get his first major league opportunity and will make his big league debut today against St. Louis. And this came well past midnight, late last night, so we're keeping up to date with all the latest. But if you're unfamiliar with why this move is so interesting, and the wrinkle in there is there's a couple of different things. Now, in case you're unfamiliar, again, we'll start with this. He's a left-handed hitting outfielder who has 12 home runs and basically 1,000 OPS in 51 games at AAA Buffalo, and is expected to join the Blue Jays tomorrow against St. Louis. He's a 27-year-old, so he is a prospect, but he is an older prospect. But folks, this means some interesting things, and this means that we have to assume now that Nathan Lucas is going to be on an IL stint because he is not on the 40-man roster. And you can see here from Brandon, BK, surprised they would bring up someone who's not on the 40-man roster already. This might make him not long for the organization. That's a 40-man roster spot that could get squeezed out in the coming months. So this is why it's so surprising. It's a wrinkle in this. We expected a guy like Joey Loperfido, who's on the 40-man, or guys like that. Will Wagner is obviously not an outfielder. With Nathan Lucas going, what we assume is going to be placed in the IL, I'm sure we'll know in the coming hours, they now have to make room for, and he's on the 40-man, so they're probably going to be, he's not going to be long for the MLB unless he dominates. Now that leads to some speculation. I would assume this is a situation of see how he does at the major leagues, maybe increase his trade value, then trade him going forward. But I would have expected a Relvis Martinez. I would have expected Joey Loperfido. They're going with Will, which is very interesting. Will Robertson, folks. If you're unfamiliar, let's look at his OPS. Really having a bit of a breakout year this year. 1,000 OPS in a bunch of AAA games. Last year only had a 748 OPS in 119 games. He's 27 years old. Folks, I'm very excited to see what he can do. And man, what a surprising move that came out of nowhere. And it's one of the ones where you don't really talk about the guy because he's 27 years old. He's not in the 40-man. You don't think there's any world where he comes up. Nathan Lucas collides with, gets an injury there a couple games ago, misses last night's game, and now is back and going to be placed on the IL. So it's going to be interesting. We get to see a major league debut today, and it's going to be wild. But let me know down below what your thoughts are on this move. And wow, thanks for picking up quickly. And let's move on to some of the other updates now. A lot to go over today. The Jays, just a gritty not even comeback win, but a gritty game yesterday. Had a 4-0 lead, gave up a grand slam, a 4-run, inning, and the Jays come right back out and they win the game. But I want to touch, before we get into a bunch of updates today, on the man of the hour, and this has completely changed everything for this Toronto Blue Jays team, and it is Alejandro Kirk. And we have stats to back it up. Hopefully, we can all vote him in as an all-star. Make sure you do that if you haven't already when the voting, opens up and as things continue to open up here. Ladies and gentlemen, Alejandro Kirk has a 69.6% hard hit percentage over the last 30 days and is number one in the MLB. He is firing on all cylinders. Another multi-hit game yesterday, coming off of a multi-hit game the day before. He's not only one of the hottest hitters in baseball, but he is doing things that we've never seen from Alejandro Kirk, and maybe in the 2022 season, his all-star season. But man, oh man, he's now hitting an MLB best, and this was prior to yesterday's game, 356 with 2 strikes this season. I mean, he's making as much contact as the best contact hitters in baseball. He's hitting the ball for home runs more than Vladdy has been as of late, and he's one of the best defensive catchers in baseball. If not the best defensive catcher in baseball, I'm going to crown him with that. He is truly, and again, Prior to this season, I said it over and over again. If you've been following the videos for a while, following the channel for a while, I said in order for this Jays team to really be special this year and to make the playoffs and make a push, some things were going to have to go right. This has been one of them, and it is Alejandro Kirk. And I cannot express how important this is. He hits 367 with 2 strikes and 2 outs, which is first in baseball, 354 with 2 strikes. He's one of the clutchest hitters in the MLB. And at the start of the season, he was an automatic double play machine. People were overreacting, myself a little bit to a degree, regarding his contract, all these different things. He was horrible to watch at times because of the double plays and his speed. He has completely shifted things on their head. He's hitting over 320, and he's a catcher. Not only a catcher, one of the best defensive catchers in baseball. He hits the ball harder than anybody in baseball, and he's completely shifted the outlook of this team because their team is so deep. The Jays put up 10 runs yesterday without Vladimir Guerrero Jr. or Anthony Santander, and even without Nathan Lucas, who's been sneaky good this year. It has been, it almost reminds me of 2021. The bullpen starting to, collapse a little bit at times. They almost couldn't hold it down yesterday. Jeff Hoffman gave up a 3-run shot. But Alejandro Kirk, his OPS, it is absolutely crazy. Just an unbelievable game for Alejandro Kirk in yesterday's game. I don't even think these stats here are up to date following yesterday night's game. I think, this is probably before yesterday night's game, but regardless, he's so good. It is insane. And the vibes are just at an all-time high, and this team is doing things. The MLB is on notice now. Everybody knows how good Alejandro Kirk has been. They know to pitch around him. But for the first time in what feels like 4 or 5 years since 2021, this team is scary. They come back. You go down 2, 3, 4, 5 runs. I don't care how many runs you go down. You have full faith watching this team that they're going to come back and call their way back. You're up 4-0. You give up a 4-run lead. You know this team is going to fight back. And they put up a 2 spot the inning immediately after they give up 4 runs to tie the game, and Chris Bichette shuts things down the rest of the way for him. This team is built different, and it is the first time since 2021 that we're seeing anything remotely close to this, and it's all thanks to a bunch of different people, but Alejandro Kirk stands atop of the list, an 893 OPS with 2 strikes coming into yesterday night's game. Just absolutely fantastic, and people are starting to take notice, folks. The Jays have entered, not that it really matters, but the Jays have entered for the first time since earlier on in the season when they were 12-8, back into the top 10 power rankings. And this was before, this team is just, this is before yesterday night's win as well, because this chart was, I believe, posted on Monday. So before back-to-back wins. So they're probably going to climb up even more. It is, I'm very excited because not only is baseball fun to watch again, and of course, baseball is always fun to watch. Last year was a little bit rough at times, but watching a team that you can come back from no matter what your pitching staff does, no matter how bad or good they are on a given night, is absolutely electric. And let me know down below how much fun you are having watching this team. And it is on the back of Alejandro Kirk. And let me tell you something as well. Chris Bichette made a comment that has you ready to run through a wall. He said tonight that he feels blessed to be here. I'm just really proud of this team. Honestly, from the second we showed up to spring, I feel like we're really fighting for each other, really working together. And Chris Bichette it's hard on the team when they're playing bad, and now he's super high on the team when they're playing well. And the chemistry, the vibes. Think about Jonathan Clase's game-tying home run in the top of the 9th a couple nights ago. His emotion, the raw emotion after the wins. Bichette hugging Alejandro Kirk prior to the game a couple nights ago. The vibes are just so high right now that the team feels like they're playing for one another, and they actually have a competitive squad without their big free agent addition. Max Scherzer's on his way back. Hopefully Santander's on his way back. A bunch of players. You make additions at the deadline, and this is the time to go on a run. Prove to your GM, Ross Atkins, hey, we deserve to just go all in. You Jays have so many prospects. There's so many prospects that are knocking on the door of Major League, the Major League door. And you can take advantage of that and really ride this hot streak. And, after the Oakland, I guess not the Oakland, I keep saying that, the Athletics series, people were saying, okay, the Athletics pitching staff is terrible. Let's see how they do, against better teams. You go out, you have a great series, and then you have another great series. They've won 5 straight series. There's no longer good. The Cardinals are a fantastic team, 36-29 coming into the series, now 36-31. The Jays are 7 games above 500, and their schedule doesn't get too much easier. You play the Phillies after an off day tomorrow, and hopefully the Jays can take care of business in this afternoon's game. It is a bullpen game, and we'll dive into that in a minute. We get to see Spencer Turnbull today make his debut, but it's truly special to watch. And John Schneider says they're doing all this without several key players. Hopefully we get back to full strength and it gets that much better, but the way they're going about it right now is professional and pretty awesome. I'm not going to use that word. And guess what? It is pretty effing awesome because the Toronto Blue Jays, it's nice to be, it's obviously nice to be feared by other teams. And The unfortunate reality is the Jays are the hottest team in baseball, and they barely even made up any ground in the Yankees because the Yankees are that good and haven't played that good. But just give myself for now in a wild card spot. Obviously, make a push towards the AL East. I keep bringing up 2015 vibes. Of course, the team was very different in 2015, a lot more veteran oriented. The offense was better. But if you can continue to make pushes like this, I only referenced 2015 because Alex Anthopoulos went all in. They went all in. Tulowitzki, David Price, all these different guys, Mark Lowe. They bolstered the bullpen back in 2015. Of course, David Price being the highlighted addition, LaTroy Hawkins, all those guys that help, 4 players that help manage the bullpen. If Ross Atkins can go all in, get some guys to really boost this team and push them over the top. They're already pretty close, but push them over the top and really, I think they can. I'm fully all in this team. I think they can take the AL East from the Yankees. The Yankees are dealing with a ton of injuries to their starting pitching staff and bullpen. They've had a much easier schedule than the Toronto Blue Jays thus far, and the Jays have had the hardest schedule, I believe, in the AL East to this date. And if you can continue to just win your games, hover around, if we get to 10 games above 500, I'm gonna celebrate in some regard. And of course, they have an off day on Thursday, which is tomorrow, which is the unfortunate reality because the team is absolutely rolling, but they could use it with the way their bullpen is. I am fired up. Alejandro Kirk's an absolute beast. Chris Bassett making super exciting comments. We know they're going to be, according to Blake Murphy, aggressive with Max Scherzer. He's probably going to be returning soon. You're going to have Max Scherzer returning in the middle of a playoff race. I guess it's still early, but you're in it, in the middle of a playoff race. A Hall of Famer, like the vibes are high. And also for today, Eric Lauer starts for the Toronto Blue Jays today, which is pretty big, news here. He's going to be piggyback from Spencer Turnbull, making his Jays debut. That's why yesterday's win was so crucial. You get a win, and then you have your bullpen day. Hopefully, you can take care of business in this afternoon's game and get the sweep. Ladies and gentlemen, the Jays are 37 now, 37 and 30. Keep the ball rolling. And man, oh man, this team is special. Let me know down below what your thoughts are. You guys are beasts. Cheers.